now so we don't forget, but how's it going?
Good, man. Yeah, I just got done with a coaching call. I got into screen flow, and that seems to be super easy to do. Um, and I already recorded. I did a couple of test recordings to see one how it would sound and kind of practice a little bit, and then deleted those. And then I recorded the end, which was kind of cool, which is all the testimonials. Uh,
Nice.
so it's basically a call to action. And then what I did is I took it and copied it and put it at the end again and copied it and put it at the end again. So it'll just be this loop of testimonials that'll just keep repeating, which was John was saying can be done that way.
Sweet. It's great, man.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it. I saw you posted a question there in the Facebook group too. So
Yeah, that was one of the things I needed to do was go into where you put that in the Now VSL template creator. And I saw how you wrote that, and I just wanted to, I wanted more feedback and see if there's insight on it. And if not, we'll just go with it how you wrote it and then run with it, and then we can test it.
yeah, that's smart. No, I'm glad. Let's see what others have to say. There's certainly a lot of people in there who, are going to have a lot of input. So
Yeah.
more input. So
So, yeah. So that's what I got.
nice. Okay. So sounds like things are moving along.
Yep. And I should be able to have like an understanding with my daughter today that she'll give me blocks of time to be able to knock that out. I should be able to record it today and render it. So that'll be good.
Nice. And if she doesn't give you time, enjoy that time with her,
I also have, I don't think you were included in on it. I've been going back and forth with Ashley to see the ads that are going to be written to send to this business page.
Sweet.
And she'll get it up in like a spreadsheet. This is the one ad, because we're going to test the ads and driving it to that page. And she's lining it up with the wording that's going to be on the page. So I extracted all of the copy from the video that I've already written and sent that over to her. And then we'll just probably, after we record this, you tweak and adjust that again. Just need to make sure she's up to date on all of it.
Cool. Okay. And there was one other thing I was going to ask you about. Did you ever get any feedback after your email, the Clarity Focus
Nope.
contributor?
Nothing.
Not a word, huh?
It's okay. Like, it's good because we're going to start getting traffic from all over the world. Right?
Exactly.
Like the dog that you have to carry to go hunt. That whole concept. I'm not carrying anybody. If they want to run with this, then they can, and if not, that's cool too.
Yeah.
Like,
that makes sense.
How many people could be having a conversation about building business revenue generation and say they are starting out with $120,000 budget?
Not many.
Not many. So
Exactly.
I'm not worried.
Yeah, nice. No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, I do have a follow-up call with the folks I told you about tomorrow. So I'm going to kind of mention what's going on. Remember, we talked about it with the potential JV partner in the future. So kind of mention it and get their take on it. And if they're open to it, then we can set up a call as well. And I think it's just one more thing to add to the mix eventually when the timing's right. So
cool. Sounds great.
Yeah. So just for the sake of time, so I figure we 25, 30 minutes, probably plenty of time. And I was curious because you started to talk about it the other day, but I thought it was really cool. So your story and background about how you got to where you are. I mean, a lot of these holistic body working practitioners, I think, could probably benefit from your story. So,
Cool. You do it.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how you got started. I mean, you started in Kentucky, and paint that picture of what that was like for you, looking back on that when you first got started.
Okay. December of 98, I blew out my knee the first of 4 times. May of 99 was the last knee dislocation, like it dislocated 4 times. June of 99, I had reconstructive surgery on my left knee. At the time, I owned a computer company in Louisville, Kentucky. We did custom builds, sales, networking, network support, sold parts, complete systems, and things like that. I had inventory and employees and website and retail location, like all of this. And that on top of dealing with my knee was more than I could wrap my brain around at the time. So spring of 2000, in a meeting with my accountant and my business partner at the time, I said, why don't you buy me out? So I sold my business. I ended up traveling for 2.5 years. And my goal was to heal my knee and get back to judo and do what I love to do. And in my mind, I was like, oh, well, I'll just have it would be a massage style business. I would work my 40 hours a week, see 40 clients. It only takes an hour each. And I would be making, whatever, $60, $70 an hour times 40 hours in a week. I was like, that'll happen. Not a big deal. And it was like this, it didn't work that way because it was like on a hamster wheel where I had to market myself and I had to work on the clients. And then I had to do the self-care to recover after working on these clients. And I had to figure out how to build my business. And, so it was like all these other moving parts that I took time in addition to working on the clients. And it was exhausting for me. It's stuff that I didn't like doing. It was a lot of work. It was energetically draining. In addition to physically draining, working on clients, the ones that I did have. And it was like I never shifted out of first gear. Like I was always in first gear. And then I came across Evan Pagan's work. This was in 2007-ish. And I bought his altitude program, and he had a very different take on business. And I resonated with his upbeat approach on being like above board, doing the right thing for what the client needed. Computer industry, from my previous experience, it was very cutthroat. It was the margins kept decreasing. Everybody was complaining about something, and it was like I didn't want any part of the business world anymore. I wanted it to be in this place where I was helping people and people were happy about what I was offering and things like that. Sure. So 2008, I started studying business stuff in 2007. 2008, I realized that everything in my life to that point, how my life has changed, was a direct result of me dislocating. It was my knee injury. And then I was like, oh, well, I can create a book and drive traffic to it. And, like the pie in the sky. Well, if I sell 100 copies of the book per week or per month, I'll make this much money. And then I'll spend this much on advertising and it'll be great. Life will be great. And are we locked up?
Yeah,
Oh.
gotcha.
Okay, I think we're back now. Okay, and so I started creating my business. 2008, I bought the Knee Pain Guru, got it up online, um, wrote an ebook, got that created, started selling it. There was a scalability part in it that I was missing. I wasn't connecting dots some way, somehow. Sure, I can sell a $39 ebook or a $47 ebook, but there was no continuity on the end added to it. I was doing coaching, but the people that bought the ebook weren't necessarily interested in coaching. It was like the technology was different at that time. So I was coaching people, but I didn't have videos to point them to, how to educate them. I didn't have a reliable way of recording the videos to get them up online. Once again, the technology is changing. We didn't have computer cameras at the time. Like, that was before all of that. And there wasn't Facebook Lives or any of the live streaming or being able to press a button and record it. It was all this very convoluted way of doing it. So I needed to learn how to present on camera. I needed to know how to shoot it. I needed to know how to edit it. Like, there was all these different components of this computer business that I was beginning to learn and understand and study, in addition to growing my business. So now I'm working on people in person. I'm trying to learn how to grow this internet business. The technology is changing. There was a move and a marriage and a divorce in there. And then I guess it was around 2014, 15, the technology got to a place where I could record video straight from my computer. I didn't need to buy a separate camera. Phones started coming standard with cameras on them, so you can record directly from your phone. So the need to buy a complete camera setup was kind of taken out of the picture. And like, the technology was increasing. So the past 5 to 6 years, I didn't have as many hoops to jump through to get it up online. So now it was studying copywriting, like how these systems worked in my business, presentation of images and video and things like that. So it was,
Not only were you dealing with the challenges of running your own business,
right.
and all the challenges that come with that, excuse me, but you were also having to learn copywriting and all the details about that, traffic generation and how that works, and the pros and cons to all of that, and how to build basically offers and funnels, for lack of a better word. They weren't called that back then, but
Yeah.
systems, if you will, that allowed you to get people in the door who are interested without you having to trade every hour of your time in exchange for an hourly rate, kind of thing.
Right. There was a lot of other dynamic factors that played into that. One was the Google algorithm changes. Like, they're not real favorable to anybody in my category that isn't medical, that isn't scientific, that you can't like measure the changes, that it's kind of in this gray area of mind, body, spirit, that they don't, unless you can have documentable, double blind, you go down that rabbit hole. Google has been progressively setting up algorithm changes every July, coming up soon, that it has dropped the traffic to my site each year. Back in the probably late, where are we? 2008 was when I started it. So 2009, 2010, somewhere around in there. Let's see. Yeah, somewhere early 2000s. Wait a minute, where are we? 2008. So it was 2010, 11, 12, 13, somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
I was getting 120,000 hits to my website per month. No effort whatsoever. Like the content that I wrote that wasn't even good, that was just like up there. It was getting a ridiculous amount of traffic to my website, and then Google started changing their algorithms, and the expense of driving traffic to the website increased, and it wasn't sustainable for me to just sell ebooks without creating a back end on it. So it was learning that. It was learning measuring, like how I measured the traffic. I had to keep an eye on that because one little thing can change and all of a sudden the traffic's down and expenses are up. And yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of different things to go to running, making sure I was running a successful website.
Which that makes a lot of sense. And I'm glad you're talking about it because at that time, I think you told me, weren't you running like pay-per-click, Google pay-per-click ads that back then that used to be, like you said, were just amazing. And then one day, just like we've heard so many times before with all the different traffic providers, something changed and you walk in and your business is cut in half. But since then, you've done some things and learned some things to help not only mitigate that risk, but, you know, also equip you to be able to help others avoid all those pitfalls, right?
Yeah. Like the Google slap was a big one. Like before you could just put up, enter your first name and email address and get this thing. And then you had to have actual content on the website. Like it wouldn't just let you capture first name and email address and give away something. Then you had to have blog posts, which was the content. So I jumped through those hoops and would get slapped. So if I was driving traffic and or organic traffic would just get stopped overnight. And that was difficult to know all the rules for running the business and what Google wants to see. Yeah.
Right. And so you were able, and I'm familiar with a lot of that because I was also coming online about the same time, 06, 7, 8, and starting businesses online as well. And so I saw a lot of this, saw it with Facebook ads as well. But you kind of figured out a way to bring all this together. What was it, earlier this year, right?
Well, it would appear it was just earlier this year. It was 12 years in the making of figuring out how I can do coaching, creating the container for the coaching that I needed to do. And there was a certain amount of, I needed to make the business sustainable. And I needed to figure out, well, what was the price point? What was the format? And what made it worth my time? And what I kind of boiled it down to was I tried a bunch of things that didn't work. A 2-week coaching thing, and I got them in there, and I would get them amazing results in 2 weeks, and then they were done. I was like, oh, that didn't work so well. And then I went low with the continuity aspect of it. No enrollment fee and just a continuity thing, and that wasn't worth it. An enrollment fee, and I tested different enrollment fees and then continuity pricing. So it took me quite a while to kind of like go back to the drawing board a number of times to figure out that the price point that I'm at and the continuity the monthly membership was a sustainable business model for me.
Right. And I imagine that was probably kind of a, although you had to go through this learning experience and now you know how to teach it to others, so to speak. Basically, it's like if the offer is not profitable and it doesn't work, you're kind of really banging your head against the wall until you either spend enough money to figure it out or get lucky or just doggedness enough that eventually, it pays off. Since then, though, looking back, I mean, you're kind of able to model all the way back to like your traffic stage, knowing how much traffic you're going to get or model how much you could get along the way. And then how that translates out through your sales and marketing funnel, you can kind of predict future profits and forecasting and stuff like that now. Is that kind of how that works?
Yeah, it's like I needed to set up a system where I was consistently creating my own organic traffic to the to my website, and then testing the different offers with that organic traffic at my website, and sending out daily emails. So the whole Ben Settle thing was a huge piece that created the revenue generation for my website. Was looking at my business in terms of systems instead of just one-offs. Instead of like, oh, well, I'm just gonna, put out this offer and realize that I needed to continue to utilize the technology to essentially duplicate my efforts. Meaning, like, if I wrote 60 emails to my list, I can now use those 60 emails and insert them into an autoresponder that can be set up to give me a 60-day break that I could look at something other high leverage in my business.
Smart. So you leverage technology, you're leveraging systems.
Yeah.
That frees up more of your time to do the things that matter most in the business. So
yeah, the business, or if I want to do something else, like I wanted to take a break. Or
right. It's a good point.
Other than, it's not only, and that's a big thing, is a lot of people in this industry, money is not the big motivator for them. Money is a means to an end of enjoying their life, their experience. So, writing about a 6-figure, 7-figure income won't necessarily be the carrot that will work.
Right.
It's more of a freedom and flexibility in the schedule, so they can work on, because people in this industry are friggin' geeks when it comes to the body. They like studying and learning, and they could be students forever. These are the people that if it was in a college environment, they would be like triple PhD students, they like career students. And that's what they are in movement, or how the body works, or in the different systems, are always wanting to go to seminars and learn more, which I was in that camp. And in 2007 or 2008, I was like, whoa. I'm already getting ridiculous results, better than most people. For me to continue to go to more seminars like that to learn more about the body isn't going to grow my business. So I kind of cut myself off at that time for studying more in body work, in lieu of going in the direction of figuring out what's in my blind spot that is keeping me from creating a business model that allows me not to feel like I was in first gear all the time.
So nice. So to kind of recap where we were, how we got here. So basically, you were running day to day in your business, trying to figure out how to grow the business, streamline the business, and make it a lifestyle that you can actually live and enjoy. while doing the business and helping others. It was through a series of, ongoing learnings, and then the mid 2014, 15, 16-ish, started to get these systems in place and things that allowed you to be, more free to do the things you needed to do and get out of first gear. Talk a little bit about now where you're at and what you've done, like with the Comella Foundation. I think this is fascinating about how it can help others who are trying to do the same thing.
Got it. Well, thinking in systems has been a big thing for me, in terms of, like I was saying, with the autoresponder. I write emails that I could then plug into the technology that I can turn on or off with a button that will communicate with my list when I'm not, when I want to take a break or whatever that is. Creating a critical mass of content that allows for me, like the past week and a half since I've been focusing on the VSL, I haven't written any emails to my list and I haven't done any videos because the sole focus has been on the VSL to get that up, because I see that as being very high leverage. And like the traffic to my site and the YouTube, all that stuff hasn't dropped off much at all. So there's a certain momentum you can gain with the technology, with just the mass of what has been created that's up online that goes on its own. And then if I would have been a little bit more strategic thinking, I would have populated an autoresponder with some of the emails that I've written to my sales, to the Knee Club sales page. However, I also realize it's not congruent, and it's not going to be congruent until the VSL is there in place. So there's a little bit of incongruency in the communication there, and I didn't want to just throw something up there and drive traffic to it without it being congruent. So I'm looking forward to completing the VSL. Now, the Comella Foundation is part of a larger strategic plan in recognizing that people have pain not only in their knees, they have pain in their entire body, and that there's a lot of people suffering with pain. And I believe that physical pain is directly tied to neurological stuff, nervous system stuff. And the more that people can get relief from physical pain, it changes their neurology. You have a conversation with someone that's in acute physical pain, your conversation is going to be completely different than if they're relaxed and comfortable. It's a gimme for that. And realizing that the Comella Foundation works with the entire body, that there was a way of getting more awareness around physical pain and how it can be helped by creating this nonprofit that could help more people, and also realizing that the majority of the people in my circles all revolved around that were in holistic healing in some capacity. Naturopaths, homeopaths, massage therapists, yoga instructors, energy workers in all different ways, shapes, or forms, body workers in all ways, shapes, or forms, and that a lot of them, I realized this, I don't know if I had that foresight initially at the beginning of the year, but when all this COVID-19 stuff hit, there was this realization that the Comella Foundation provided a vehicle which people that were like myself 12 years ago can now benefit from the template or the format that's been created, that we can provide business training in the context of the Comella Foundation, where a lot of that guesswork of how to grow my business, how to scale my business, all of that could be removed from the equation, because we have a grant that is driving traffic specifically to a site for people that are suffering with pain. And those that have the skill set and the desire and the passion to help someone with pain can then plug into that in a business partnership format, which will allow them to either supplement their business or replace their business online. Going from a brick and mortar kind of setup, now that the virus hit, so now there's this whole social distancing, and we got to wear masks and we don't got to wear masks, and the numbers of people that are getting infected are going up, and now it's dropping. And how can you rely on a business and nobody in the government is giving straight answers across the board, which includes how long this is going to last? So do you really want to rely on your income based on the whim of a government official that is one day going to determine we're going to shut down your business because people can't visit it anymore in person?
Yeah, that's got to be tough, especially for body workers. I mean, the whole world is suffering and seeing this digital shift, which has been a long time in the making, but I think it's finally just a necessity. So basically with the system, it seems like you've pretty much almost eliminated most of the risk for folks in the community who are body workers, people who massage therapists, maybe chiropractors, people who do hands-on work. There's a way to help bridge the gap between completely offline to an online, offline, sort of more hybrid model. And there's a lot of variations there. Mm-hmm. What you did is you basically removed the component of needing to get traffic, because it's plug and play done for you, which is huge. That's $120,000 a year budget or something, right? For that kind of traffic.
$10,000 a month for the traffic. And these are people that got into the industry in one way, shape, or form. Could have been a story like mine, knee injury. Normally people don't end up on this path just because they love it. There was usually some sort of physical injury or life challenge that they were presented with that led them to the work that they're doing. And along the way, they may be a massage therapist. They may be a body worker. They may be a naturopath or a homeopath or whoever it is. However, there are tips and tricks and the way they look at a person in pain that is unique unto them and their modality and their life experiences that is valuable for someone suffering with pain. So the trade-off with the Comella Foundation is they're giving tips and tricks and strategies on a regular basis, on a weekly basis, to the Comella Foundation in the form of blog posts or podcasts or videos that then help people suffering with pain. But at the same time, they're establishing an online presence, a rapport, a personality that's being developed online for those people that are suffering with pain to resonate with that individual or business, and now can go to their website to learn more about what products and programs and packages that this person can offer online to help.
Right. Makes sense. So again, the traffic gets covered. So these holistic practitioners and body workers and people who are out there helping others, they're not going to have to worry about traffic.
Right.
With some of the programs that we've developed, they're not going to have to worry about pretty much anything dependent upon how much effort they want to put in. So if they want to write as many articles as they choose or create as much content as they choose, articles, videos, et cetera, et cetera, we're literally providing the keywords that are getting the most traffic.
Yeah, I didn't mention that, but we have our AdWords team gets we get a list of trending keywords each week, like what's everybody searching for in Google.
Like what's now?
Yeah, like what is current right now. And it there was a few weeks ago, there was COVID-19 and neck pain. This was just a few weeks ago. So if there was a practitioner that had a specific approach for dealing with COVID-19 and neck pain, that would not only be a targeted keyword that we're actively driving traffic to, we're also coupling that with it's a trending keyword. It's not just we're driving traffic to it. So combining those two gets even more eyeballs on the article or blog post or webinar or podcast or video that is created.
So people can literally be sitting on their couch on a Friday afternoon, evening, drinking a glass of wine and relaxing. Take a look at the keyword list that's refreshed weekly or more. See
once a week.
Once a week, okay. See a keyword.
Wednesdays.
Okay, Wednesdays. So on Wednesdays, they get this update. They could literally go in Wednesday night, Thursday morning, Friday afternoon on their own time, relaxing, whatever. What's convenient for them from home. Create content straight from their phones or through writing it out or speaking to it or whatever. And target those areas of interest that are proven through the keyword program. And then basically write on it and see traffic. Literally, the minute it gets published, you could start to see hits. And we're actually measuring that traffic, correct?
That's correct. And here's how it works. A blog post gets written. We have instructional videos on actually how to fill it out correctly, which is cool. Once it gets written and published, the Google keyword team gets a notification of that the blog post just went live, which has all the keywords and it gets notified of the blog post. And then the keyword team writes an ad based on the keywords that are trending in Google. And now we're going to direct paid traffic right to their website, right to the Comella Foundation website. So the person that just published it gets notified. Now, what I don't know is the turnaround time between when they write it and it gets published and when the ad is written and the traffic is driven. That I'm unclear on that. Yeah. However, you can see in the metrics, you could see in, we should have the date the blog post went live and the amount of traffic to date. So you get an idea of that.
Right. And there might be a little lead lag between publishing, this week it gets published, the report for last, that's understandable, but within a relatively short period of time. So the goal here, is you get a health practitioner is literally, this is an unbelievable opportunity. I'm going to say this from both an entrepreneurial standpoint, business person for 26 years and being digitally online and doing online marketing for 14, 15 years. I will say this really is kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity for folks, not having to deal with setting up any of the technical stuff if they don't want to. Instructions laid out, crystal clear, plain as day, and then various levels of support depending on where people are at with their business and where they want to get in. Away from, some of the stuff we've talked about is potentially having bits and pieces done for you if you don't want to do it or don't have the time or too busy. to almost completely done for you, just depending upon, again, where they're at, how much, because it always boils down to either time or money investment pretty much when it comes to traffic and building a business, and sales and marketing and the whole 9 yards. So in this case, they don't have to worry about most of that. They just get people on their list. They can write content and do what they love. And then we will help create offers and structures for them that'll help get them to profitability, even mapping it out before they get started to kind of see, hey, how much traffic equates to these kinds of numbers, and what kind of profitability, could I expect to see? I know that alone is huge, because otherwise you're kind of working in the dark,
Yeah.
and banging your head against a wall for years potentially. So you've really eliminated, I'd say, virtually any risk.
Yeah.
Tremendous upside potential, and an opportunity to grow with the organization in a way that is kind of just amazing, man. It's kind of unbelievable. And now's the time for people to jump on board, because everything's moving so quickly that, the people that get in early are going to really benefit the most, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now and in business, and how I'm going to pay my bills and all that kind of stuff. And I can't say it eliminates all the risk. It reduces a significant amount of risk and the guesswork associated with it. The big piece that I believe initially is how, and I remember the first ebook sale. The first ebook sale I had, there was almost like this disbelief, like, oh my gosh.
I was the same way.
It was like a bonus. I was like, I didn't have to work at it. All the work had been done up front. And when I started supplementing my income in a way that was like, oh, wow, it was a game changer for me to realize that this was, if I did the marketing and advertising and all that right on the front end, I wouldn't have to work so hard at working on people on the back end. And this would give freedom and flexibility and time that I wouldn't be able to do if I was just working on one person at a time. And it also allowed me to choose the people that I wanted to work with. Because there were some people I just didn't want to work with, but I didn't want to get rid of them as clients, because it was like I needed the revenue. So that just gave me way more options, and I'd prefer options and choices rather than having to be kind of like, oh, this is all I could really do.
Yeah, I've always been a big proponent of saying, options. It's always like, as long as you've got options, right? And so, and especially good options. So yeah, I see the vision here. Hopefully some of the other folks who could benefit from this also see the vision. And I'm sure you've already got 20 something people or more that are already committed to being contributors, right? So
yeah, there's people that has definitely expressed interest in contributing. Where they're at with all of it right now is yet to be seen. However, the opportunity is there, and whether they want to step forward with that, a lot of them, and I find the biggest challenge with someone who has been doing just brick and mortar, or seeing one person at a time, or teaching in groups of people at a time, to see how they can efficiently and effectively and quickly transition their business online. They don't necessarily see it. Yet that's exactly where I was 12 years ago. I only saw people in person on a massage table, and you had to call me to make an appointment, and I had to look and all of that. And that, realizing that there's technology that can all be automated. That, like, if you want to do, be it online coaching, be online group coaching, be online, set it up as a continuity program or a monthly membership to the information and knowledge that you have to share. that was a concept that didn't even occur to me back 12 years ago. So there's so many options, and working with people that have already been there, done that, bought the t-shirt scenario, so to speak, it will just shorten that learning curve significantly.
Absolutely. And so now what you've basically done is you put the people in the right places to make all that happen. You've got the traffic experts, you've got the Comella Foundation set up with the appropriate, folks in leadership positions, including yourself. And you've got the systems and structure in place to help others do the same and learn from what you've done. So what would you say for somebody to get started? What do they have to do? One, it sounds like a belief that it's possible.
Well, I don't even know. At this point, you don't even need to, like, if you're basing things on universal principles, like understanding how the world works, your belief is not necessary. Like, you don't need to believe gravity works for it to work. You don't need to believe the water flows downhill for it to work. You just need to show up and do the work that's necessary and begin to see that, well, there is a different experience. There is a different reality on the other side of seeing a one patient at a time, or talking to one person at a time, or teaching small classes of people, that the internet is a whole new ball game. And there is a lot of people that are suffering out there with pain that aren't getting help by doctors and physical therapists and drugs and shots and surgery. And they can be helped by those people that out there that have the knowledge and skills and passion and desire to help people. And what's even more important is empowering people to do it for themselves, because that's what's not happening in the conventional medical model. People are being dependent on the system. I continually have to go back for a shot or more drugs or a prescription or another surgery. So it's almost like people who don't take advantage of this offer are actually doing a disservice to the people that they haven't met yet.
Such a good way to look at it. It's so true, because that's exactly right. As long as they're struggling in their business, especially with COVID and all the stuff, the way the world's changing, you have to do it. You almost have to do it to, one, be in business or just live, and two, to actually live a life that's enjoyable.
Yeah.
I don't really see any other way around it. But yeah, so that's good. Really good. What else would you want to share with anybody who's considering, in the same shoes that you were in back then? I mean, what did you have to do to get traffic and business back then? What kind of methods did you have to do?
Well, I had to write blog posts. I had to do things, but there was nobody. I didn't have the blog post already in front of a bunch of eyes. I had to create that demand. And over the past 12 years, that's gotten increasingly more difficult to do.
More competitive, way more. I mean, to even break into that, I think, is almost impossible, the way that some of these markets are established, unless somebody came in through kind of the way that you're doing it, which is the established Google grant traffic, a willingness to help others, and then grow your business from there.
Yeah, I wouldn't say impossible. However, the level of effort that needs to be put in on the front end is a lot. And then, if you're kind of doing it on your own, it's a little bit of a hit or miss kind of thing. You don't really know. And if you're already got, trending keywords, and these are the things that are working, and we already know what the traffic is going to the website, and you write an article about this topic, and this is what's happening. So,
it's funny. It kind of allows a person to be the CEO of their own business, if you want to call it that, or run their own business, have an entire corporation of support behind them. When you think about it, all they have to do is do what they do best, sharing information with others and delivering on what it is that they basically offer. And continuing to follow up. And that's pretty much it, which I think is pretty darn good.
Yeah. So, yeah, that I think that kind of puts a little bow on it.
Yeah, so that's great. Well, thanks for sharing this. No, I really appreciate it. And I'm going to go ahead and save this recording. I'm going to go ahead and end it.
Okay.